Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. First of all, I would like to thank all for taking your time to come here this morning for a student briefing on our new, inshallah, program that will be offered next year. That is Master in Islamic Finance and Practice. First of all, if possible, I would like all guests to fill up the front seats row. Thank you. Okay, I would like to thank all students, Mr. Izam Shah, our Dean for Professional Studies Department, and Ms. Liza, representative from ASIFT, for being here, and all staff, especially from ASAD. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Izam Shah to give the briefing for today's.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all. Firstly, for those who have just finished the exams, I hope you have fared very well, inshallah. I hope not to see you guys next semester, okay? Or neither in coming to my room, sir, please. I did well, but how come I fail or anything like that, okay? Thank you for coming. Of course, this is open to all students of the Chartered Islamic Finance Professional, both face-to-face as well online. But there will be a recording for this and will be put on the LMS for students who are not able to come today. So please tell your colleagues, whoever is not here today, to view it on the LMS recording. Of course, we also try to have another session sometime in early January for those who have missed today. All right. I also like to introduce Puan Lisa Maidin, who is actually the chairman for the membership committee of ASIF. Although I myself also a council of ASIF, but I think I wouldn't want to wear two hats at the same time. Because I think it's very important that she's be present and she may have to ask questions you may have. Before going on to the slide proper, I'd just like to recall the CIP, although I was not there at the present in the early stages in terms when it was first coined or first given birth, essentially to produce graduates with of a high standing and very professional status in the Islamic finance area. I guess maybe from my own personal, I view it to be chartered Islamic finance professionals, having more of the Sharia slants regarding finance and in those kind of areas. So in that respect, INSEF basically undertake to come up with a program called Chartered Islamic Finance Professional, and also gave birth to the Association of the Chartered Islamic Finance, or basically Association of the CIP, called ASIF. Now, this MIFP, I must stress, will not dilute for people who already are undergoing the CIP or even have the collection of the CIP. In both tracks, I think I will emphasize that the objective is for all graduates to achieve the status of being professional. Okay, just like if you're the ACCA, or for me, for instance, like the Society of Actuaries, we have all professional bodies, and I think at the end game, we want to become professionals in what we do. So in June next year, of course, in matter will not be too long, we are going to have the Masters in Islamic Finance Practice. The Masters in Islamic Finance Practice is a postgraduate aimed at producing finance professional with expertise in Islamic finance. Certainly has the Masters will be accredited by MQA and the Ministry of Education, of course, conferred with a master's degree. Now, we used to call students who come to campus face-to-face, but now in alignment with the MQA, Nation Quality Agency, we'll call it face-to-face. And for those who are not face-to-face, will be the onliners. This will, of course, will include even those people doing tutorials and whatnot. And of course, in both, there will be part-time and full-time, all depending on how much credits you want to take. These are basically MQ rules which we have to fit in. We do find that even onliners take 6 subjects. Of course, the minimum requirement is 2, but they take 6 subjects. And they, in order to graduate early, we have to categorize them as to be full-timers. Because MQA does provide a minimum period for onliners to be 3 years. If, for instance, they are not, onliners who are part-timers, they can only graduate in 3 years. Because that is more like the duration when you take 2 courses or 3 courses. So that's the viewpoint. For full-timers and face-to-face, the minimum period will be 1 year. So if onliners wants to be doing what they call quickly, then they have to go onliners, but full-time, in which case allows them to take more than 2 or even up to 6 subjects, which is more practicable. Now, again, I must stress, the CIP program and the MIP are basically the platform for one to gain professionalship status. Of course, professionalship status will be conferred by the Association of CIP. And that's where Puan Lisa will come in. If you have any questions, I think maybe she will elaborate after my presentation. Now, the difference is basically here. The CIP program, you have completed 14 papers, and then you need to do the articleships. And after that, if you complete the CIP, you straight away get associateship member. Okay? So here, certainly I will encourage everybody to join, because one of the things that ASIF will be doing is changing the status, where basically later on, you are required to do 18 months industry training before you can get associateship in ASIF. Again, I must stress, no matter whatever qualification it is, our objective in professional studies is to churn out or produce people of professional status level. Yes, you may say that currently what's the point of achieving professional status? There's no law requiring that. But inshallah, we should be working towards that. Like any other professional bodies, there will be later on a legal requirement before you can practice or achieve that status. So here, wherever we only have 6 months, here you have 18 months. So of course, there will be relaxation, I believe, Puan Lisa, if, for instance, you're already working, but this applies to basically fresh student who just basically from a degree joined the CIP or MIP later on. They need to undergo 18 months practical training. This is decided by the industry. So if you do have already more than 2 years of working experience, inshallah, I think you can be conferred once you get that. Okay. Now, the MIP courses, of course, like anything, as they say, wisdom is the square root of experience. So Islamic finance is a very, I would say, very fast, rapidly evolving industry. Even when INSEF started the CIP, what courses to put in, sometimes maybe it's just, not to say plucked from the air, but since we all have the lack of experience, we did our best. But over time, any courses need to be reviewed. So hence, we have reviewed, and for university, of course, the MIP, we have introduced. We noticed that students who comes in, because of their lack of, because it's open to all discipline, Sharia, even computer science, engineering, or whatever, whereas this is finance courses, we have introduced the need for, say, economics, basic, managerial economics, quantitative analysis, finance, Sharia, of course, and even accounting. Now, this needs to be there in order for them to do all the other subjects. So basically, we have 18, but what you need, as I mentioned earlier, is 14 plus 1. The 15, 16, 17, 18 courses here are actually elective papers. So you have 14 electives, 14 core and 4 elective. You need to choose one. In total, the number of subjects are still the same. If you count the PPP paper, it's to be one paper, so in which under the CIP you have 14 plus PPP or articleship program. So the MIP do not require any articleship. It just requires for you to finish up with your paper. Okay. So you can choose one. Sharia issues, Islamic wealth management, Sharia audit and compliance, and commercial law. In this blue paper, for people who have maybe accounting degrees or even a master's in MBA or even say a CFA, there are potential of you getting exemption for these papers, or the compulsory. Like if someone with a CFA, most likely, he will get finance or managerial finance to be exempted. So number of papers, there are possibility that students will need to do less paper. So that's one of the things. So if you already have a master's in accounting, or even a bachelor in accounting with at least 9 credits in accounting, you'll be exempted from the accounting paper. So it helps them to do. So these are basically the real core of core, which is to be the electives. There are similarity between the CIP and MIP. This is the current mapping. Like the deposits and financing of Islamic financial institution, which is 1005, I believe, will basically have been reviewed, and now will be Islamic banking practices. Of course, like Takaful, which is my subject, we have to meet Islamic insurance to have more of the global flavor, because in many countries, especially in like Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they just call it insurance. Indonesia, they call it Sharia insurance. There's no word of Takaful, and maybe sometime in the Middle East. So we just call it Islamic insurance. So after all the review. So a lot of them, the content could be the same. Of course, one main subject here, Islamic financial service marketing, will be introduced. So after course review. Yeah, and even I think under one of the elective, we're talking about I think maybe there is a wrong here. Basically, it should be documentation of Islamic finance contracts. One of the electives. Just now, yeah, commercial law and legal documentation contract. This is a new subject. Islamic financial services marketing will be also a new subject. So these are the mapping. There will be no more Islamic economics. Basically, we have economics, but with a Sharia slant. So that one is basically the Islamic economics will be basically economics. I think maybe we miss out that. Okay. Here, Sharia rules basically fiqh muamalat. I think it's governance. These are the exact mapping. Okay. Now, again, just to recap, MIP, you need to complete 15, as opposed to CIP is 14 plus 1. One is basically 6 credits from the PPP or basically your articleship. So under MIP, we do not need to do practical training for you to get. Of course, to some people, this is why, for instance, having the chartered with industrial training, that's a good add-on, a value add-on, because for fresh graduates, at least with 6 months practical training, the chances of getting a job is sometimes much better. Still, the MIP will maintain industry focus. I think over time, there will be more people from the industry, because again, this is post-evaluation, will be participating in the teaching of the MIP courses as well. Our own lecturers, one thing just to remind that we are trying to get accreditation from the AACSB. and WSSB do emphasize strongly on industry relevance. So our lecturers who are so-called started from being theorists will now also have to be practicing as well. So they need, even the research paper that we're going to do also will be based on industry relevance. What industry really needs. So we're moving, and inshallah, I think for some of us who have already experienced being taught under basically pure academicians, industries, of course there are differences. What we hope to bring is the best of two worlds. And of course, this MIP program also been reviewed by industry heads, the industry leaders, to give that the depth on industry relevance. CEOs of captains of the industries do participate in our PDP in the review committee to bring that relevance. Of course, in discussion with them, they want more courses, but we say that you must have empathy on the students. Doing 14 is already too much. Otherwise, we need something like 20 courses, but that's not practical. The program will commence in June, but being a short program, we may not be able to offer all. That is also. So in the sense, we will introduce some courses in June under the MIP, and this will then followed by a full menu in September 2014. Now, this very important part here. Those who have been CIP, how will you be affected? Can existing CIP students switch to MIP? Yes, depend on the circumstances. Now, per situation, if you still have a significant number of courses to complete, I think we will leave the choice up to you. Of course, you have then to do still to ensure that you get a degree, you must still complete the minimum of 42 credits and so forth. And you have to take the subjects. So there are switching possible if you still have a long way to complete. Now, if you have completed, because by this end of this year, I think certainly we will not allow to switch, taking consideration many few things. We shall come to it. It just, and you are undergoing your PPP already. In other words, you're fulfilled. One of the factors is that under the MQ ruling, the electives, there's only one. Whereas under CIP, you already have taken 2 electives. That's one of the reasons. So I think we would not allow, and especially if, for instance, you are completing the course as well, by in January, I think we also would not recommend you to switch. And as mentioned to you, the CIP is a good platform to become members of the ASIF and to achieve the professional status. And it's a much quicker way to achieve the professional status under CIP. Now, we have taken, for instance, the MQ ruling on credit transfers. One of the major things the MQ requires is not to give exemption, but for you to switch from one program to the other. This is why we have made, I strongly recommend the earlier slide, that if you already completed everything, if you want to switch, actually for international in particular, when you switch to a new course, you may require to even leave the country and apply for a new visa. It's just not practical. Under the new central processing, CMGS, is that pronunciation right? I think they create a real big problem for us. And of course, you may even have to pay the $2,000 plus medical fee. You have to go out of the country because you have to switch program. So international students, certainly, we would not, And of course, for scholarship student, since you are being contracted under the CIP, this would be required to get the scholarship committee to approve if you want to switch as well, even for local or foreign, especially for the foreign companies. The other ruling on MQA, of course, I have mentioned to you the 1 year minimum to be in the program, also create a hurdle. So a little bit funny, for instance, if you have all the 14 courses and then you just do one extra and you graduate, so we'll be put at task by the MQA. So because of the regulation. So, and due to the full, as I mentioned just now, the full menu will be available only in September. Part menu will be available in June. So, but for people who want to switch, if you have to wait that long, so that's why might as well we recommend that you continue basically with the CIP program. Again, I must stress it will not dilute your position in terms of professional status achievement through ASIF. So one of the things, actually register early to ASIF because later on, Pandit Maiden will talk about some changes in terms of structure. Right now, it follows the existing Part 1, Part 2, but later on, you will enter as a provisional member that will be effective sometime late next year. So this is very important for the CIP graduates. Please register early. It doesn't cost that much, and then straight away to get into our associate track as well. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to is get you to be full accredited professional status in ASIF. So if you want to switch, Nisa is back there. She's hiding somewhat. But she with the Asad and Ms. Nisa here will be basically the focal point for the switching. In order to have the structure, anybody who intends to switch will have to do it before 31st January. So that prior arrangement can be done. They need to apply to Asad, withdraw from the CIP program. Of course, you can email too. We have a new address, switch@insef.org, or you can phone call, or you can drop at Asad's office. After withdrawal, we have to apply to enroll as an MIP new student. So there are some little bit hassle here, and you receive an offer letter from MIP, for MIP. There will be no fees other than what you need to pay for the cost. On the normal process, for instance, getting exemption and so forth, you got to pay processing fee. In this case, we don't have incur. But remember, it is not based on just an exemption, but it's a switching from one course to another. So credit transfer for balance require under MIP. So if you have, for instance, like 21, there's a need for 45. So you have basically to do 24 credits. And of course, you are not allowed to take the same course. Repetition. If you're taking Takaful, you cannot take Islamic insurance anymore under MIP. So in the next couple of years, we'll be still running MIP and SAP on parallel basis. And even we could have students in the same class when the courses are common. One is doing MIP, one is doing CIP. Because for some people, the reason to switch is, I need the master's. Although the Chartered Islamic Finance Professional is also a master's equivalent, but in some countries, they still find it difficult to accept that. But there's no dilution in terms of content. It is still, in terms of assessment, a master level assessment. Okay? Before I have the Q&A, maybe Puan, do you need to share something and on ASIF? Because we have a relevance in here, as mentioned to you earlier. I would like to invite Puan Lisa Maidin, Chairman for the Membership Committee of ASIF, to say a few words.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, dear fellow students. Firstly, thank you, Mr. Izam Shah, for allowing the association to speak to you this morning. My name is Liza Maidin. I work at Al Raji Bank, and I'd like to give you a bit of background firstly on the association. The association is led by Mr. Rafi Hanif, the CEO of HSBC Amanah, and it is made up of really very experienced industry practitioners. We even have, as Mr. Izam Shah mentioned, a number of ex-CEOs and current CEOs in the council. And the association is mainly run under the objective of making a good potential structured and industry-based training program, continuous training, even after you have graduated from CIFP and MIFP. So firstly, the association works as a chartered professional association, and at the moment you are already qualified to join. So, but there are different structures that we need to discuss. Yeah. Mainly, if you do take the switch, the main difference is that you will now undergo a longer training program, a longer internship. Under the MIFP, it is actually 18 months as compared to 6 months internship. We have found that based on feedback, and I'd like to stress that whatever standards that association comes up with, it is run through with the captains of the industry first. We do have a lot of collaboration and discussion with the CEOs and even Bank Negara in terms of what they will require your experience and qualification to have. So all of our standards under the council and association is actually very much industry focused. Yeah, it will be what the captains of the industry say they need in terms of your competency and experience. So from the roundtable discussions that we have had, one of the main feedback was that the 6 months program was too short. We will require you to go an 18 months internship program, mainly because it gives you a better chance of having longer employment. So it will be, you have a job for 18 months, gives you more time to prove yourself, to gain employment later on. Secondly, it also allows you to be rotated to other main business departments. Yeah. So if you were just under the 6 months training program, there will not be enough time for you to go and be rotated or for others to know you. Okay. And also you're at the mercy of one supervisor. 18 months, you have possibly 3 different supervisors who can give a good judgment on whether you can qualify or not for employment. Okay. So that is one of the main difference, the 18-month internship program designed for you. Another difference the association is embarking on is the continuous professional development program, where even after you have obtained your qualifications, finished your internship, you will actually continuously update yourself with a number of professional programs, training programs. So it's similar to Securities Commission, where you have to collect points and go for continuous training. That's something that is going to be built as well under the association. And this is important because, as you know, our industry is constantly evolving, and it's very important for us to stay up to date. So you will have to start collecting your CPD points, continuous professional development, and then it will allow you to go to the next stages of higher ranking in the association. So this is the plan, the program for you under the association. And it's very important for you to start being a member from now, mainly because you will be getting first-hand knowledge on the structure that is going to be put in place. Yeah. Secondly, you will have the first-hand knowledge on guidelines. And also it gives you a good platform to network already. As I mentioned earlier, we have a number of very good network of professionals that's already a member of the association. And we do have a number of activities, networking activities and public lecture activities that only members of the association can benefit from. We do not open it to the public. It's similar to all other associations out there. You need to become a member to realize the benefits. Yeah, for example, our latest initiative was we had a talk by, I'm sure you've heard of Professor Abbas Miracle, who we conducted an interview with him, a video interview, and only our members will get a specialized CD of the interview, where he covers important aspects of risk sharing, Islamic finance, and the growth of in the industry. And this was not open to public. It's not something that we will give or publish on our website. It is only if you become a member. Yeah? And secondly, another reason, I suppose, is to benefit from getting to know one another when we do our networking sessions, and I think that's mainly it. But where you are right now, I suppose, in terms of getting the benefit of the internship training program, is that we have already institutions that have signed up for this, and we have the governor's endorsement for the training program, which means that Islamic banks out there, by default, must take membership in the program under the Bank Negara's directive. Yeah, they are making it. Well, it's soft compulsory. They're not making it by force, but it is expected for Islamic banks to be a part of this program, mainly because it's driven by Bank Negara itself. Okay, so that was just all I wanted to say, just to give a short background of what the association is trying to do and what they will cover moving on. Do you have any questions?